You don't need to spend thousands on heavy power stations or custom sleep setups to have an epic adventure in your Tesla. Today, I took the Model Y out to the Scottish Highlands to build the ultimate waterside base camp for under 500 bucks. Between a £160 paddleboard that fits perfectly in the trunk, a £60 jet boil rival that boils water in seconds, and a new solo setup trick for my Tesla Model Y Canopy, this might be the best day trip setup I've tested so far. Rebecca's at home working today, so I've driven out to Loch Rannoch for a solo day trip. Ever since our last group camping trip where we took out the Wave paddleboard, I've been looking for any excuse to get back on the water. But today's about keeping things minimal. I've got no frugal sleeping platform, no overnight kit, and I'm going to show you how to turn the Tesla Model Y into the ultimate base camp without spending a fortune. So let's get the trunk opened, get the paddleboard inflated, and get straight out on the water. I've paddleboarded a handful of times so far, so it's safe to say I still have no idea what I'm doing. But this Wave paddleboard we bought for my brother-in-law has really impressed me. I inflated it most of the way with my electric pump using the 12-volt socket in the Model Y. But I must not have the correct seal because air started to escape once the pressure built up. Luckily, the included handheld pump helped me finish the job, and is a nice way to get your heart pumping before heading onto the water. Compared to the paddleboards we rented in Europe, this thing is super light. Unfortunately for me though, the route to get to the water wasn't so easy.
Slippy. Oh, very slippy. Benefits of paddleboarding in Scotland.
This paddleboard is massive, which means it's super stable in the water. And the water was a lot choppier than I expected, but I felt pretty safe on the board. And I'm not the most confident person in the water, so that's really saying a lot. If you've never paddleboarded before, give it a go. It's a super fun way to get some exercise in, while also enjoying the peace and calm of being out on the open water. And it completely changes the dynamic of a camping trip, when you can actually explore the loch rather than just sitting next to it. Time to get some shade, and for this job I'm going to use the Tesla Model Y Canopy, which I recently tested out for the first time, and after thinking over it, I think I've got a better way to set this up that's going to make life so much easier, especially when I'm on my own.
Well, that literally took like 5 minutes, that was so much easier. So first time I set this up, I made the mistake of putting this long pole on the inside. You actually want it on the outside because it's going to ensure that the canopy is actually taut and it's not going to be loose and flopping about. And this time I was able to make the setup super quick because you can actually pull down on the end of these poles if you're a bit short-legged like me. And yeah, I think because I've done it before, it was just fairly easy to get it up. So yeah, I'm really impressed with this tarp. The only thing I'm not too fond of is it makes a lot of noise against the car. Basically when it's windy, it starts rubbing against the body of the car. And it does make a bit of noise, so it does kind of ruin the peace and solitude out here, but At least it's giving us a bunch of shade. Not too sure how windy it is today. The wind gusts are currently up to 18 mile an hour, and I believe this can withstand up to 24, so we should be all right. Be very careful when you're tightening these, because the stitching just above the buckle here is actually coming undone. So don't over tighten it. Yeah, so I saw a review online that basically shredded this fire maple burner to pieces, so I was actually really skeptical about it, and I didn't really think it was going to work, but I think they must have received a dud unit, because this thing is like a rocket ship. It boils water too fast, to be honest with you, faster than I can actually assemble the meal, so I'm having to rush about to get the meal ready. I did look into alternatives, which were a 12-volt kettle, but that was going to take forever to boil water, and obviously boiling water with the single gas burner just really isn't efficient. But this thing has been fantastic so far, and it only costs about 60-70 quid, so it's really cheap, and it packs down really small. It all fits in this bag right here. Yeah, I'm going to be doing a full deep dive review of this Fire Maple X2 Star, or Fire Maple Star X2. So if you've got any particular questions about it, drop them in the comments and I'll make sure I answer them in that video. So you really don't have to spend a fortune to have an amazing adventure in the Tesla Model Y. Total cost for this setup, £120 for the Tesla Model Y Canopy, about 60 odd quid for the Fire Maple burner, and £150 for the paddleboard, which is an absolute bargain. The paddleboard totally changes the game because I'm always at lochs, and now I can actually go out onto the loch and explore little islands, or just head out even further and get to see more sights that I wouldn't necessarily see if I was sitting here on the shore. And yeah, I do have a custom 35 litre sub-trunk fridge in there, which is fairly expensive, but for a day trip like this, you could easily get away with a simple cool bag and a frozen bottle of water. Sadly, I'm going to have to give this paddleboard back, so I'm going to have to get my own one. If you guys have any brands or any specific paddleboards you'd recommend me pick up, let me know in the comments, because I want to take this paddleboard all over Scotland and bring you guys along for the adventure. Anyway, enough chat. I'm going to enjoy my noodles, and I'll see you guys in the next video.